And today we want to share with you guys 4 ways to overcome depression.
It's anxiety, isn't it?
Oh, for crying out loud.
Bloopers! That was hilarious.
Gosh sake. What's going on YouTube? Van here. Welcome to my channel, a place where we talk about Christianity in the 21st century and a place where we try to create and foster honest, real and authentic conversations. And welcome to this week's video. Today I am joined with my very good friend Ree.
Hi.
I've known Ree for many years. We've been friends for lots and lots of years. She's one of the most creative people I know. And for those of you guys who want to find out more about her content, we will leave a link in the description box below to all of that. Ree, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Hello, I'm Ree, otherwise known as Rhiannon. I grew up in Somerset all my life. I'm now living in London. I study fashion with knitwear, but I'd consider myself a general creative, so I like to express myself in different ways, whether it be fashion, music, spoken word, or general artwork.
Today we want to share with you guys 4 ways to overcome anxiety. I think anxiety affects so many people in so many different ways, and before we get into talking about how we've been able to overcome our anxieties, I think it might be good to share with you guys some stories about how we ourselves have battled anxiety. So Ree, would you like to share a little story of anxiety and how you've battled and overcome it in your life?
I think for me, I've always been quite a self-conscious, sensitive person. Growing up in school, I think I might have come across as confident, but I think inside I was like a very shy person. And I think in recent years it's manifested in feeling anxious about myself and my social media presence, and feeling the need to always be relevant, always be posting, always be looking a certain way, always be conforming to a certain beauty ideal. And I think that's given me an anxiety. Just generally, I'm always checking my phone, always checking my appearance, always checking my likes on social media. That's how it's manifesting now. And I think that's quite a widespread thing at the moment. Yeah, that's me. How about you?
I think for me it's definitely work related. As many of you guys will know, I work as a paramedic in the local ambulance service, and the thing with paramedics is that anything can happen at any time, and as someone who is a paramedic, you are expected to be able to in some way or another deal with the situation in front of you. And for me that was a really challenging thing, because it meant that I was constantly going over in my mind all these situations, all these potential things that could happen, and what would I do if this happened, what would I do if that happened. And I think it really led to this place of really a whole lot of anxiety. There would be nights when I wouldn't be able to sleep. There would be just lying in bed constantly thinking about, oh, what if this happens, how do I deal with this, and all that kind of stuff. So for me it's definitely related to my work. Being a paramedic has been something that has put me in this place, put me in this battle with anxiety. And before work I never really experienced anxiety, to be honest. So yeah, that's really some of the ways that I battle anxiety, and that we battle anxiety. So let's get on with the video. We want to share with you guys 4 things that have helped us to overcome anxiety in our lives.
One of the things that helped me is finding that safe space. Obviously, as we mentioned, anxiety can come in many forms. It can be a very immediate reaction to something traumatic happening in front of you. But I think with my example of anxiety, it's very a very internal, very almost self-inflicted anxiety in a way. It's finding that safe space, finding that place that you feel happy, relaxed, learning to know more about yourself, come to terms with yourself. That might be in the form of going for a walk every day in the morning, or just sitting in your room on a Friday night and reading a book, or creating something. I know for me, I find a great deal of therapy in making music and doing drawing. And if you're a spiritual person, maybe you'd like to invite God into that process as well, or do something inspired by God's love, just to surround yourself with positivity and things that you enjoy. I think can help you just relax and put things into perspective a bit and have clarity of thought, I think.
I think for me, one of the ways that really helped me to cope and overcome anxiety in my life is a change in mindset. And anxiety is very much, in a lot of ways, a way of thinking, isn't it? You start to worry, you start to overthink, and then before you know it, you're not able to get past these thoughts of anxiety in your mind. And for me, a big way that has really helped me to overcome anxiety is changing my mindset. So every time I started to have like anxious thoughts, what if this happened, what if that happened, I would shift them and begin thinking of positive thoughts of thankfulness and gratitude. So for example, if I was at work and I started getting anxious and started overthinking, what if this happened, what if that happened, I would then take my mindset, take my way of thinking and put it in a place of gratitude where I would say, Lord, thank you that I have work. Thank you that I am in this place and I have this opportunity to help other people. I think anxiety is very much a battle in the mind. And so by shifting my mindset, every time I get these thoughts of anxiety, by shifting the mindset into something that's more outward, something that's outside of myself, and thanking God for all the things that He has done, and having that mindset of thankfulness and gratitude has really helped me to get over anxiety and overcome it.
Yeah, I think I read a statistic once that is like we worry about 80% of things that never happen. So it's like, it is like generally most of the time it is just all in our head. And I totally agree with what Van's saying about like changing the pattern of thinking and making positive thinking a habit. Because if you get into the habit of anxious thinking for an extended period of time, that like becomes your brain pathways, like that becomes who you are.
Yeah.
So I think like things like CBT can be really helpful for that, if you want like a more practical version, but also just if you're a spiritual person, again, focusing on God, being thankful for the things that are in front of you, and hopefully over time that should manifest into a proper way of thinking.
For sure. Tip number 3, Ree.
Tip number 3, I think, is building off of what Van was saying about thinking outwardly. I think it also like putting your feelings into perspective. So maybe volunteering for like a homeless charity, or maybe like calling up a friend and asking if they need any help around the house, or just like little things like shifting the focus away from yourself and like onto other people. And of course, like with that comes with like more positive feelings of like happiness and fulfillment, and like you're doing stuff for other people, they're being happy, and that energy is being put back onto you. Just like stop, like a lot of anxiety, I don't want to use the word self-absorbed, but it is a very, very internal way of thinking, and it is just shifting that focus outward and realizing that there's like better things outside what's going on in your head right now. I think
that is so true, because a lot of it is centered around self, isn't it? What if this happens and I can't deal with it? Or what if this happens and, from your perspective, from what you were saying, what if this happens and they don't react in the way that I want them to react, or and things like that. And so I think the Bible puts it in a really interesting way when it says it is more blessed to give than to receive, because it's saying that it's better to put yourself and your mindset in a position where it's looking outwards rather than inwards.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think another thing, if your anxiety is worrying about what other people think of you, just knowing that like a negative thought that someone has about you isn't even tangible. Like it's a thought, it doesn't even have weight to it. It barely has an existence. So again, it's like putting that into perspective and realizing that like, who cares if someone doesn't like the hat you're wearing, or I don't know, like some like little things, like just putting it into perspective that way is like a good way of thinking about it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing, and the last tip that we want to share with you guys is this. Ask the question, has God ever let me down? Has God ever let me down? And I think for me, that's been something that has really helped me, because when I look back into my past experiences, even in the most horrible and most trying times, God always had a purpose. And I have never once in my whole life felt that God has let me down, because everything has always had a purpose. Everything was always meant to achieve something in my life. The Bible says that all things work together for the good of those who love God. And it doesn't say that all things are good. but it says that all things work together for the good of those who love God. And so for me, overcoming anxiety was this journey of asking God and saying, have you ever let me down? And, you know, when I look back and reflect on my past and the things that have happened, I can't say that God ever has. Because there's always been a purpose, there's always been a reason. Looking back in hindsight, I'm always able to see his fingerprints in everything.
Yeah, and looking back and knowing that any trials you had in the past only lasted for a time. Like, then they didn't last forever. Like, you might be going through something now, but it's not going to last forever. Like, looking forward and knowing that tomorrow is going to be like a better day. And also, like, the bigger picture of looking forward and knowing that, like, the trials and tribulations that we experience, like, on this earth is only for a time.
That's one of the things that makes Christianity for us such a key part of life, is that promise and that hope that in the future all insecurities, all anxieties, all depression, all selfishness, all greed, all prejudice is going to be removed, and it will have no place in existence anymore. So that really brings us, guys, to the end of our 4 ways to help overcome anxiety. We really wanted to open this channel of communication because in the church, I think there's a lot of stigma attached to mental health, isn't there?
Yeah. It's not really an issue that is spoken about, even though it's probably one of the most widespread issues in the church. And I think only in the last 20 years has it even been kind of spoken about in society. Like, we have like a lot of different services available now to assist you with any mental struggles you're going through, but I think even now it's really hard to access that help. Like, I think if you were to have an appointment and you were to be wanting a counsel session, like, the waiting list is like 8 to 12 months sometimes, depending on which part of the country you're in. But obviously church is like a free service that you can access, and God he doesn't charge you for his time. Like, he is there to like always listen to you. And I think if we implemented that more into like our communities and into our churches, I think if we're just vulnerable with each other and we just help each other, I think that mental health can be more overcome.
Yeah, I think you're so right, where in churches we have this tendency to want to put a mask on, don't we?
Yeah.
When in fact, actually, a church is a place where we, you know, rejoice with each other and weep with each other, you know. It's a place of true, authentic relationship. And I think, you know, there's this misconception that your mental health is somehow indicative of your spiritual health. There are those who think that, if you're struggling with your mental health, whether be it anxiety or depression, that it's a reflection of your spiritual life that's also unhealthy, when in fact, you know, we all have our crosses to bear, we all have our struggles that we need to go through, and in some cases, some people's crosses, the burdens that they have to bear is problems with mental health, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, until this world is changed, until the second coming, until the time comes when God will remove and wipe away every tear, we're all going to be struggling with different things.
Yeah, having that compassion to like understand what someone's going through as well. Like, what they're going through might not seem like a big issue to you, but everything is relative to that person. Like, you just need to like be empathetic and just be there to like wipe their tear away. They might not know about God and his ability to wipe their tear away, but at least like you could be that person to also introduce them to like God and his capabilities of helping you through things as well. So true. And so we hope that by sharing this with you guys, we're opening this level of communication, or this just way to be open and authentic and honest, and talk about these things, because they do need to be spoken about. And I think that really brings us to the end of this week's video. We want to thank you guys so much for watching. We want to thank you guys for joining us in this conversation. Do leave comments in the comment section below. If there's anything else that you want us to talk about, do leave them in the comment section below as well. Please like the video, share, and subscribe if you've been blessed by the things that we've spoken about today. Thank you very much. God bless you, and peace out.